I'm Jonathan Knight, and this is B-Movie Madness. The movie I'm going to talk about today, well, I got a very special one to talk about. It's a new release from SOVhorror.com, or it was a new release when it came out last month. I'm finally getting to it. I'm super, super excited to talk about it, and it's the one, the only, the legendary Ron Ford's Monster History 101. Fucking glare. What is Ron Ford's Monster History 101? It's an anthology film from Ron Ford. If you don't know who Ron Ford is, he is a SOV filmmaker. He's also a writer and an actor. He was an actor like in 2 episodes of Z Nation. He's done a shit ton of stuff. But I mainly know him as the director of Hollywood Mortuary. And if you've never seen Hollywood Mortuary, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite shot on video movies. I always forget to mention it, but I was lucky enough, or I shouldn't say lucky enough, I was smart enough to watch it last month for Halloween, and I was reminded how fucking good that movie is. If you watch one movie by him, and I recommend a lot of his movies, but if you only have time for one, please do Hollywood Mortuary. But enough about that movie. Let's talk about Monster History 101. What is Monster History 101? I think I asked that earlier, but I'm asking it again. It's a collection of monster-related shorts that Ron Ford has done over the years that he's put into one anthology film. He shot new wraparound footage with himself playing Professor Matt Cobb that he shot in his own home when he shows off all his monster collectibles. He has a shit ton of monster stuff, including a whole bunch of Creature from the Black Lagoon collectibles, which are fucking awesome. I'm really jealous, especially the giant creature he has behind him in the wraparound footage. Um, but each story he introduces what the story is about and etc. Playing, and Ron is an actor in a lot of his own stuff. He's actually in several of the shorts in this too, and he is very good. He's having clearly having a fun time playing the professor, doing this little wraparound thing that he only shot. I believe he says he shot it in one day, like a couple hours, which is really cool. But I'm gonna go through each story. There's 7 segments, and most of them are under 10 minutes long, with the exception of one. And when I get to that one, I will talk about it. Um, so, what is the first one? The first segment is called "A Thorn in Paradise," and it's about a lord or a king who sends his men out to find his daughter, who has ran away with, I believe, a servant that she wasn't supposed to see. And ultimately, the men end up in the Forbidden Forest, and they meet the guardian of the tree of life. This one's set during medieval times. Each story is set through a different time period, but this one's set medieval times. And the period costumes, I'm going to say the period costumes are fantastic. They really look authentic. That's a point in this movie's favor, or that this segment's favor. Also, the movie has a stop motion monster in it, which is this guy right here, who is fucking awesome. Very old school Ray Harryhausen kind of looking monster. Like I was saying earlier, pretty much all the segments are under 10 minutes, so this one's not very long, but it's a lot of fun while it lasts. Like I said, period costumes are cool, the monsters are cool, the story is fun, really, really cool stuff. The second story is called The Plaid Eye, and this one, what's really interesting about The Plaid Eye is it's a completely hand-drawn animation, and the story is it's set during the Civil War, and it's about a slave who is trying to find some gold that his master has buried, and he ultimately evokes the spirit of the Plaid Eye, which is basically this undead spirit that starts chasing him. And I don't really want to give much more out because the story is actually really cool. It's actually based on a real slave stories from back in the Civil War days. But I don't want to give the ending away. I will say that although the animation is very crude, I will say it is really freaking creative, and the story is really interesting and a lot of fun. Like, I didn't know anything about the Plaid Eye before this. I ended up looking up on Google afterwards. Some really cool stuff. I actually highly suggest looking up the Plaid Eye. It's really interesting stories about it. But yeah, the animation is actually really just really creative. I really give like I don't have patience to do animation. I would get up. I would try to do animated stuff, and I would give up probably like a day or two later. So I give them a lot of credit for even if it's under 10 minutes for even doing that. The third story is the man without a saddle. Man without a saddle. This is the one that is the longest segment in this one. This one runs about almost 30 minutes, and compared to the stuff before and after it, it does really feel much longer with which it is, and that's ultimately the main problem I had with it. It's way too long. I think it could have been shortened by a little bit. The story itself is actually really fun. It's sorry, sorry, burp. It's about a group of cowboys who disrespect a Native American ceremony, and one of them gets cursed and ultimately becomes a werewolf-like creature. That's all I'm going to give away. It's a really fun little, it's a fun story. The acting is pretty good. The period costumes, much like the one with the medieval segment, are actually really cool and authentic. The werewolf makeup, he did a good job of keeping it simple, just like teeth and eyes and all that. It's really fun. Like I said, the only problem I had with it is that I thought it was too long. Even if for like if it, an anthology short, usually they're like 20-ish minutes. I do think this one still could have been cut down a little bit, but I still think it was a fun little story. The next one is Dr. Jekyll and Love. This is a black and white, shot in black and white, comedic take on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Um, I don't want to give too much of this away because I think what made this one so much fun is that just the finale is hilarious, especially the twist at the end. So I will say I like the black and white photography. I thought the transformation scenes were hilarious, and I thought the acting was fun. But again, I don't want to give away the finale because it's actually pretty funny in my opinion. The one after that is Nightmare Circa 1966. This is another hand-drawn animated one. This one only lasts like a minute or two though, and it's just a boy on a bus who people start to die around him. There's not really much I could say about it because it's really short. And if it wasn't for the plaid eye, I would probably give this one more points. But because the plaid eye was hand drawn and had much more of a story, that one is much better than Nightmare Circus 1966. But I still like the animation. I thought it was really fun. Then the next one is the big throbbing thing. You're thinking like, what? That one's about a biker taking a woman home, and ultimately, we find out what his and her intentions are. This is another one I don't want to exactly give away, which I probably will give away anyways. But it does involve a creature of sorts in the basement. And as it says on the back here, it says a very fungoid, suggested fungoid creature. And if you watch the trailer, you'll know what creature it is. It's a very, like I said, suggestive. This one is just a fun, old school Tales from the Crypt like story. I thought the creature was cool. I believe it won some kind of award at a competition. I'll get more into that when I get to the talking about the extras. But yeah, this was a fun one too. The final one is Game Camera, and this is the found footage story. Now, when it comes to found footage, give or take, there's so much of it out there that it's hard to see or find out what's good and bad. I'm a big fan of the Wreck movies. I think those are like my favorite found footage movies. That, and if you want to go way back, Cannibal Holocaust is probably my favorite found footage movie. But I don't hate found footage, and I thought he did a good job with it here. Game Camera is about a group of humpers, a group a group of hunters who are going out to the woods to hunt, and they find a game camera, and ultimately they look at the footage of it, and they discover there's something very non-human in the woods with them. This one, like I said, found footage angles was fun. I actually like the direction the story took. Um, it had just a nice little did have that found footage feel to it, but it wasn't annoying. It was actually well done. Um, According to the commentary, Ron Ford actually made a feature-length version of this story, which he says he prefers the short. So I'm still going to check out the feature-length version in the future because I really liked what I saw here, and I would like to see what the 70-minute version of it is. But yeah, fun. It was a fun one, and I really liked the creature at the end. And that's it. That's it. Also, there's 7 segments and the wraparound stuff. And overall, I thought I didn't hate any of the stories. I thought Man Without a Saddle was a little bit too long. Nightmare Circa 1966 was too short, and it lost a little bit of an impact because the Plaid Eye came before it, or towards the beginning. But overall, I thought all the stories were fun. I thought the wraparound stuff was fun. I thought the acting was pretty good. I thought the period costumes were surprisingly very well done and very authentic. And I thought the stop motion and the creature makeup was actually well done too, especially the suggestive fungoid. That thing was cool. But overall, yes, I do give this a recommendation. If you're a fan of Ron Ford stuff, then yes, you need to see this. And if you're a fan of shot on video anthologies, although this is not my favorite by far, this is a lot of fun as well. So if you're just an fan of old school monsters and just anthology madness, definitely check this one out. As for the extras, there is an audio commentary with Ron Ford. This is him going through all the shorts. He says several of them were done for a film competition called Demon Chaser. And he ended up winning some awards for it, especially on the Big Throbbing Thing. I think he said he won for the creature makeup or the best creature, which is really cool. This is just a really good commentary track. This is the first commentary I've ever heard from Ron Ford, because I don't think Hollywood Mortuary has one. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a really informative track. What's really cool is all the shorts had end credits. So all those end credits are at the end of the movie. You get to see what the original credits look like. He cut them off because it would have just, seemed weird to put them in the movie itself. Um, After that, there's a bonus animated short, and this is for the Gonzo District. It's a it's a terrific life, and it's basically a animated like take on the Twilight Zone, and it's a fun little short. Man Without a Saddle pitch video. This is like a pitch video for that segment. The movie, you get some interviews with Ron Ford, some of the actors of the movie pitching. It's about 3 minutes long. It's actually pretty cool to see. I would like to see a little bit more behind the scenes footage. My bad, taken for it. Vintage Ron Ford shot on video interview. This is, I believe, the one that I think Tony shot this for SOV, the True Independence documentary. And it's a really cool interview. He goes into some of his movies, what his favorites are, what his least favorites are. It's a fun little interview. There's several titles he talks about during it that I actually do want to check out now. Especially Tiki. Tiki sounds like a shit ton of fun. There is behind the scenes still gallery, which is behind the scenes still gallery of the shorts. Monster History 101 trailer. I highly recommend checking that out at the end of my review. See if it's something you're interested in. And of course, there's the SOVHorror.com trailer vault, which is trailers for several of the titles that Tony has put out. This is a fun little DVD, a lot of cool extras, a fun little anthology film. I highly recommend if you're a fan of Ron Ford or anthology films to pick this up. This is a fun time. About much what I can say about it. Remember, be kind, rewind. But yeah, really, really fun time. Highly recommend it. It's only 77 minutes, which is, perfect for, if you need a quickie to watch. But you can pick this up now at sovhorror.com. I will have a direct link below. Also, coming out November 13th, that's next week. I'm shooting this on the 5th. So it'll be out next week, is Natasha Knighty's Boudoir of Blood. This is the follow-up to the anthology film Zombrello's House of Horrors. Ron Ford did a story in this along with Tony Marcello and Jeff Kirkendale, who just, I believe, returned to Splatter Farm. He co-directed, and that comes out next week. There's a lot of cool commercials. Rebecca Reinhardt's in there. Maddie Deering shot one. Mr. Parka, Dylan Fawn Harvey. There's a shit ton of cool stuff in this movie. I will be reviewing this one next week. Also coming out the same day is Slumber Party Murder Mania, which is from Henrik Kudo, who did Babysitter Massacre and Haunted House on Sorority Row. I have not watched this one yet. I'm going to be watching it this week. But it's packed with extras, and it looks like it's going to be an awesome little slasher film. So remember, those come out next week, November 13th. I will be doing both of those reviews next week. I'm probably going to do Natasha Knighty's first. But, if you like my channel, give me a thumbs up. Hit the little bell, subscribe, and what is your favorite anthology film? Let me know down below. It could be a shot on video one. It could be a shot on film. Just let me know down below. That's all I got for now. And once again, I want to thank Tony for giving me the chance to review this. I want to thank Rod Ford for just entertaining me for 77 minutes. I always appreciate when somebody, even if I don't like the movie, I just appreciate when someone tries to entertain me. Because in the world we live in today, sometimes we need a little bit of distraction. And I really appreciated it. So thank you, Tony. Thank you, Ron. I'm Jonathan Knight. It's been B Movie Madness. Thanks for watching.